Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my video on my thoughts of feminism or about feminism. Um, what can I say? Feminism. Feminism to me is a beautiful thing if done right, but like anything in this world, if it's done right, the results will be glorious. But if anything about said goal does not match what the movement or the idea initially represented, then what is the true meaning of it? Now, let me explain that. Now, some of you may think, you're a guy. What do you have to say about feminism? And what do you know about feminism? Well, to tell you the truth, I've actually looked it up. The definition of feminism is, this is actually from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. First definition is, the belief that women and men should have equal rights and equal opportunities. 2. Feminism is an organized movement or activity for women's rights and interests. Okay? Which I don't have a problem with. I believe, here's the thing, I'm going to say it right now. I believe women should have equality with men and everything that goes along with it. You know, go ahead, accept the pros, but also know that it's a package deal. With pros, with the pros come cons. Basically, you're allowed to vote, you're allowed to hold jobs, you're allowed to even open your own businesses. But you have to admit sooner or later that there will be, that you do have consequences and you have to own up to them. If I'm right, I believe that feminism started in the late 1800s going into the 1900s. I want to say about, I'm like I said, I'm probably wrong. I haven't found the exact date of when it started, but I'm gonna say probably 1890 going into somewhere between 1890 and 1920. 1920, I believe, is when it really took off. And at that time, women were basically saying, we just want opportunity. We want the same opportunities, the same benefits that men have had. And that basically, and men at the time, I'm sure there were some men, I'm not going to say all, I'm sure there were some men who basically said that's basically a package deal. And it was a package deal. That means, yes, you get the pros, but you also get the cons. And if you weren't willing to accept that, then why? And women at that time were basically saying, yeah, we want that. Unfortunately, though, like with any movement, there were those who basically said one thing but meant another. But I believe that first and second generation feminism actually won out and actually did what was right. They said, you know what? It's a package deal. Which it really was. Equality is a package deal. And if you can't accept the cons, then you just can't say, I want the pros but no cons. It's a package deal. There's always going to be something bad about it. That's why I personally am going to go on the record and say this. I respect first and second generation feminists who at least said, you know what? We know it's a package deal. We've basically, read the fine print. We know what we're getting into. We're basically saying we want to be responsible for what we do, what we say, how we act. And we're fine with that. If you're that kind of woman today who says, yes, I know what I'm getting myself into, I know what I'm asking for, and I know that I'm ready to accept the consequences, I'm on your side. I'm a guy who, I'm a masculine male. I will never sit here and say a man is better than a woman. Then again, I will never sit here and say a woman is better than a man. I will honestly say, you know what, if you want equality, I'll give you that, as long as you know exactly what you're getting into. But today's, I'm going to say, current generation feminists or feminazis or fake feminists, whichever one you want to consider it, they've actually ruined what feminism was really meant. What feminism really meant to the world. Because they're trying to push their own agendas. Like, there are some women who believe, hobbies can actually lead to violent incidents, which we all know from respected scientists who've actually done the research that that's not true. I hate to throw names out there like this, but it's something that has to be done. Take Anita Sarkeesian, for example. She once tweeted that, I believe she once tweeted, I'm going to say this right now, I believe she once tweeted that video games, she either said or tweeted this, video games lead to the mass shootings in schools. No. That's wrong. I myself have played video games all my life. I play video games every day if I get a chance. But I know for a fact they do not incite school shootings. But then again, like I said, current feminists are not real feminists. I can give you a couple examples of that. One of which, like I said, Anita Sarkeesian, she actually fits a fake feminist. I say this because even feminists are basically telling her, time to stop, be quiet, all that. Fake feminist, or what me and my friends, who are both male and female, have stated that fake feminists are what's called feminazis. Because one thing they actually argue about is rape culture. Now, I've done a little bit of research on that. Rape culture is basically saying where rape is that's a culture in which rape is okay, rape has been accepted, and rape is like, well, it's a normal thing. All right, we don't pay attention to it. It's here. Oh well. Which in America, that doesn't exist. Now, some people could say, no. Here's the thing. Some people, and I'm gonna say people because I'm pointing out the fake feminists or feminazis on this. They'll say, oh, America hates women. No, we don't. You can't blame everybody for the mistakes or the bad choices of, let's say, 10 or 20 people. Or how many amount of people there were in that. One thing is they'll say, if you don't take their word for it, you're a rape apologist, you're a rape supporter, which is bull. I mean, take the University of West Virginia. There was a young woman who, for public sake and for identity sake, her name was Jackie. She said she was gang raped at a fraternity house during a party. Rolling Stone covered the story, and at first they messed up because they only got her side of the story. They never asked the fraternity. The reporter who was basically talking about the story, who covered it, even asked Jackie if she should go to, the reporter should go talk to the fraternity. To which Jackie said no. I mean, I don't understand why the reporter would ask that. Because, I mean, as a reporter, it isn't your job basically to get both sides of the story before, and telling the people who's reading the story what you believe is there or what's going on. And a lot of people were basically outraged. This woman was basically claimed to be raped, but she couldn't name her attackers. She said conflicting stories at one time or another, and then later on, Rolling Stone actually went back and said, you know what, we messed up. We didn't really do the story, cover the story right. And it actually came out and said, you know, the fraternity even said, yeah, there were no parties that weekend. It wasn't even Pledge Week when she said it was. But feminism now is, like I said, decaying because because here's the thing. First and second generation feminists, I guess I could say, knew that when they wanted equality, they knew what they were getting into. I'm not saying, you know, rape is a form of initiation into equality. That should never be taken into account. But they also knew that, you know, like anything else in America, you can't just blame somebody or blame a group of people and yeah, just expect people to just take it at word value. But not today's feminists. Not modern feminists or feminazis. Because their belief is, if I say it, it's true, and you have to agree with it. Otherwise, you know, you're a part of the problem. No. What about the fact that, you know, we have to follow our laws, which basically says, look, you're innocent until proven guilty, and in order to prove guilt, you must first collect evidence. If there is evidence of an incident, but it does not match in any way to the complainant's story, then you got to find out why. Go back to the complainant, see what, you know, if there were details that didn't make the first story, or, you know, if there were some things that didn't match up. Which proved to happen in another case. The University of Duke, the lacrosse team there. Three of the players were accused of rape by a stripper who performed with her friend, and I think the story said a few other fellow strippers. She claimed that the three lacrosse players who were implicated in the story, and I'll post the story in the description, were rapists. Like, they basically dragged her into another room and they raped her. But the evidence came out and, you know, said that the rape never happened. Her best friend, who was also a stripper, even went on to TV in that city and basically said, no, she wasn't raped. I even asked her, you know, I was like, are you alright? Did they do anything? Are you fine? And she said, yeah, we all had a good time. And, you know, I just don't understand this. I'm all for a feminist movement. I'm all for, you know, equality. But don't sit there and say, you know, something happened and you know it didn't. But then again, it's like I said, they claim to be taking the moral high road. They claim to be taking the road that is sincere and just and works for all, when in reality it's their agenda they're trying to push. Like the wage gap. There are feminists today who still complain about the pay wage, which in my mind makes no sense. I'll admit, yes, Obama did make a good move signing the Equal Pay Act, which I believe, you know, was already there from what I've heard about. But, you know, I see it as like a complaint from people who say, you know, I gotta leave work early, or I gotta take the day off, or, you know, I gotta take care of important business that keeps me from going to work, but yet I should still get paid for work. which in my mind makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, I guess it's coming from the place where, in my mind, where I believe, if you show up, you work, you get paid, which is common, which is normal. That's how it's supposed to be. You fill out an application for a job. They say, hey, come on in. We're going to give you an interview. Then we're going to give you a start date. And then, they tell you your hours are this time to this time, and you get paid for every hour you're on the job. But like I said, some women will complain about the pay gap because, John got $350 for 1 week of work, while Jenny got $320. To all the feminazis or fake feminists who complain about the pay gap, instead of complaining about the gap and how much money you make, stop and think. Okay, John got $350 while Jenny got $320. Stop and think about, did Jenny leave work early? Did Jenny leave work early any day last week? That's one factor to take in. Another is the tax information. How did you fill out your tax information? Did you claim yourself? Did you claim any kids? Did you, claim your spouse? That's what you need to worry about. Don't think, oh, he's a man, he's getting paid more than me. No. If you're working a job where you're getting paid hourly, chances are you don't get paid as much as him, or you don't get paid as much as anybody else in the job. It's probably because you maybe left work early, or your financial situation outside of work is much different than anybody else's. And I want to retouch rape real quick. When that event does take place, when that horrible, horrific, intolerable event takes place, one of the first few things feminists want to say is, we have to teach men not to rape. What? This may be for all the men with at least a half a brain up here, but I think the minute we hit, let's say, 15, 16, 17 years of age, our parents give us the birds and the bees. And when they do, I'm sure of this. I'm going to say 200% sure that if you have a loving mother and father who try to prepare you for life as best as possible, they at least tell you anytime during that little conversation about the birds and the bees, they tell you one important fact that has to be there. One important fact that is guaranteed. When she says no, you stop. Don't not even if she's giving you that little no, like she's playing around. The minute she says no, let me get up. You said no. Let me get up. Because here's the thing, I don't have a child, but I know for a fact if I ever have one, and he gets to that age where he's gonna start thinking about sex, I'm gonna tell him, look, man, sex is good, sex is great, but you gotta be ready for the consequences that you may incur because of the act. But there's also one other thing you gotta be worried about. If she says no, like no or stop at any time, unless she's telling you no, don't stop. You stop what you're doing, get up, get dressed, and leave. That way, she can't claim anything. And speaking about that, let's talk about that right now. Consent and double standards. I understand that sometimes consent is necessary. Consent is necessary. I will admit to that. But there are some things you don't need consent for, and then there are things you need consent for. Like, one, sex between two adults. That is something consent is definitely required. There is no way around that. Unless you are a rapist. But, if a woman gives her consent for sex at that moment, but then later says, okay, I'm taking back consent for sex, At that time, once again, stop, get up, get dressed, and leave. But now the next example I'm going to give is an example of what I hate about today's version of women. They say, when it comes to sex, nowadays, women can have sex, like consensual sex, mutual consensual sex with a partner, and then they can, they can say, oh wait a minute, I regret that I had sex that day. He raped me. Wait, what? No. In my mind, here's the thing. If you regret doing it, fine. Okay, I understand you regret doing it. But you can't claim rape on a guy just because you regret having sex with him. That's not right. Now, and then once again, I know I'm going to, that part's going to get, those women going, you're a rape apologist. You're a rape supporter. No. No, I'm basically saying, look, if you want to have sex, fine, but make sure you truly want it. Do not sit there and say, I want consensual sex, and then days later call the cops on me and say, he raped me. No, you better tell the truth, which is why I tell my friends all the time. All the time, my friends, go to have sex, and I know they have a cell phone. I'm like, look, bro, does your phone have a recording feature? Yeah. Does it record as long as it's on? Yeah. Okay, you might want to just record any conversation between the two of you, so that way, if she says yes, and at any point during this activity, she does not say no, or she does not say stop, like, she's not wanting to go any further, record it. That way, if she calls the cops on you for rape, even though you knew for a fact she was down with it, because you even asked her after you were done, did you enjoy that? Was it good for you as it was for me? And she said, oh yeah, I loved it. At that point, she can't claim rape. She cannot claim rape. But once again, today's feminists are not about what's fair. It's only about their agenda. Because if you don't believe me, here's another example. Today's feminist gets offended at anything. And if you don't believe me, listen to this. I'm going to post this story in the description below too. Earlier this year, I'm going to say about February, maybe earlier. Maybe it was like late 2014, early 2015 this year. Target had a shirt, and apparently, I believe they pulled this shirt from their from all stores. The shirt had said basically trophy. It just said trophy on it. But because of the fact that a woman was wearing the shirt, apparently of a picture of it, or it was found in a woman's clothing area, the clothing department for women, it said trophy. Many of the feminists today said, we are not property. Whoever said you were? It just says trophy. It does not say I am a trophy. It does not say that. And I'm willing to bet. At the time there was a men's size of that shirt too. I'm willing to bet that. But yeah, and they raised such a stink about it. Like, oh, we really need to say something about this. About one word? No. But like I said, that's the agenda for the fake feminist or the feminazi. We're offended. We have to be victims. And speaking about that, today's feminists believe that women are perpetual victims. Like, women can't be, symbols of hope for all genders unless they're feminists. Or, anytime a woman is in the news, she has to be a victim. Like, if she's attacked, she goes, like, if someone argues a logical point, or she has to be a victim. Take, once again, I'm going to throw this out there, Anita Sarkeesian. Anita Sarkeesian started claiming that, criticizing video games in a negative light. Which, okay, American, she has the right to do so, understandable. But when she said things that many people disagreed with, she pointed out 4 YouTubers. I only know 3 of them. Not know them, like, I talked to them. I've seen their videos. I think I'm subscribed to at least 2 or 3 of them. 3 of the people I can name off the top of my head was Mr. Repsion, Alpha Omega Sin, and Thunderfoot. All because they basically said, no, that's your viewpoint on things, and I understand that, but here's mine, and they 100% contradict yours. Like, they point yours out in a way that, like, says, if anybody with even 25% of a working brain would look at it and say, well, why is she saying this? But, like I said, she pointed those 4 out on her Twitter post, in which she said, she's been straw man. She's been straw armed. So because 4 people said, you're wrong on your viewpoint, and you couldn't accept the criticism? It's like today's feminist relies on the double standard. Yeah, double standard. Because, once again, I'm going to go back to the earlier point. Feminism, like I said, when I read the definitions, basically talked about empowering women. Be it if a woman does any action that is independent, she gets attacked by feminists. Take Kaylee Kuko, one of the stars of the amazingly funny, sensational sitcom The Big Bang Theory. She plays Penny on it. She decides that she wants to cook her husband a meal, like a romantic dinner for her and her husband. Word gets out about this, and the feminists attack her. Like, how are you going to attack a woman? A very educated, very talented young lady who says, I want to make a romantic dinner for me and my husband. She wanted to do that. It's not like he said, hey, I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care if you are a celebrity. Get in the kitchen and make my dinner. It's not like he said that. Now, I don't know if he did. I don't know if that's what happened. I was never there. But if it turned... But, she even came out and said... I think she even came out and said, I wanted to make my husband a dinner. I wanted to do that. And feminists attack her. Which is actually kind of weird because, how can you literally sit there and say you're for empowering women, but when women decide to make an individual proactive choice, you want to get mad at them? That makes no sense. And then they turn around when somebody criticizes their point and try to play like, I was just stating a point and everybody's attacking me. Like, I could never be anything but a victim. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna find this video here on YouTube, and I'm gonna put it in the description as well. There was a video in which a woman tried to get her husband in so much trouble because she couldn't afford the payment for her apartment, and the thing was her husband couldn't get a job because apparently he had some kind of criminal activity on his record, and it was preventing him from getting a job. But she basically tried to play off the role of the victim, like no matter what she did, she was a victim. She couldn't do this. She was a victim. And it was actually revealed because I believe it was on the show Judge Piero with Jeanine Pirro. Judge the judge basically said, look, I have your own diary has basically said that, you coordinated this with your family, you've looked up stuff, you've even written down how you enjoy, how you're planning on getting rid of him, stuffing him with the house, so that way you can walk away and your credit score will not be, affected. Which, like I said, that goes into the victim mentality and saying, that's how things are. And I don't understand that. Why should a movement that is about empowering women do this? But then again, I guess that's a rhetorical question, because these are the same women who would sit here and go, women should not lock their doors, women should not, buy protective items, so that way if some guy comes up to them, they can, protect themselves, and they shouldn't lock their doors at night, which is bull, if you ask me, because here's the thing. I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for women empowering, I'm all for, equality across the board. But, we can't just sit here and think women are just this important commodity that's so rare, so treasured, that they do no wrong. And I know there are women, once again, the feminazis, who claim all men, just because of one, look at me, because 1, 2, 10, 20 decide, oh, I don't like her, I'm going to attack her, I'm going to threaten her. And then they want to say all men are evil. Well, guess what, ladies? You're not innocent yourselves. I can give you a hint. Helen of Troy. Because if you listen in your history class, Helen of Troy had an affair. And if the story, she had an affair. She slept with the king of a foreign empire. And at first, her husband thought, she was seduced. Like this man, like the king of the foreign empire decided, I want his wife. But then it later came out, she willingly did it. Like, she seduced him. Yeah, not very innocent, are you? But then again, some women actually understand, yes, women are as capable of creating prosperity as well as sowing destruction like any man. Any woman can do the same thing any man does. And once again, like I said, if you're that kind of woman who believes in true equality, I'm on your side, I'm your friend. But if you're one of those people who sit there and go, well, women want no, see, here's the thing. Today's feminists don't want equality. Because that would mean, if they get in trouble, they have to serve jail time just as much as any man. And I actually have to ask this question. And excuse me. I have to ask this question. If a man was to wake up one morning and kill 13 women, the cops arrest him. They gather all the evidence. They do drug and mental tests on him, and basically it comes back and says this man knew what he was doing. He was not on any drugs. He knew the difference between right and wrong and did not care. And he killed these 13 women who never even met him, who never even knew him, let alone each other. I bet the first reaction everybody would say is, give that man the death chair. Give that man the death penalty. Put him in the chair and light him up. Okay. I'll admit, I'll be the first one to say that. If I read the news, if I turn on TV or I look in the newspaper or online and I hear that story, I'll be the first one. Put him in old Sparky and flip the switch. Now here's the question. If the roles are reversed and we live in an era of equality, shouldn't a woman be put to the same punishment as a man for that same exact crime? The only difference is instead of a man killing 13 women, it's a one woman killing 13 men. I mean, and all the evidence comes back and says, she knew what she was doing. She knew it was wrong. There was nothing, up here messing with her mind, processing ability. She knew what she was doing, and she did not care. But once again, the feminists will be like, no, she can't do no wrong. She dated those men. Like, how do you know? Did you talk to her? Once again, like I said, I want your opinion to that question. Do you think a woman who commits the same exact crime should be held to the same exact punishment as a man? Because if so, you're an equalitist. But like I said, I want to know your opinion in the comments. But what can I say? Consent. Today's women. I'm sorry for making this video extra long, but I have to do this. I have so many thoughts on this. Today, some feminists believe men need consent to talk to women because it's rape if they don't get the consent. Wait, what? Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. I have to get your okay to give you a compliment. There was a woman dressed in very provocative clothing. And everybody knows provocative, basically, what's your thing with provocative? You're trying to provoke something. A woman walking down the street, and she was recorded doing this. She walked by, like 10, 20 men. And they all said, wow, you look very beautiful today, ma'am. You look very good. I hope you have a nice day. Wait, we need consent to give compliments and wish somebody good fortune? What are you, a friggin' moron? Like I said, to end this video right here, like I said, the way today's feminist is, feminism might just end up destroying the USA. And I just hope it doesn't happen. Alright, like I said, I'm sorry for making this video so long. I just had a lot of thoughts on this. Rate, comment, subscribe, and share it around. I honestly think this is one video of mine that needs to be shared. Thank you. And have a nice day.